In this video, we will be discussing creating and editing feature lines. If you'd like to follow along with this video, please open the file creating and editing feature lines.dwg located in the training folder as discussed in the working with this dataset video. In this drawing, let's go ahead and create a tourist parking lot. Before we begin creating the feature lines of all the different parts of the parking lot, let's take a look at how feature lines interact with each other. Let's look at these two feature lines that are in our drawing right now. Notice how we have two viewports open. This is a good idea as it allows you to see what's going on as you're creating your 3D objects. What you can see here is I've got a feature line at 0 elevation. That's what this rectangle is doing right here. We also have another feature line crossing it, and you'll notice how that feature line is actually draping to the 0 elevation. That's because this feature line, the rectangle, was created after this one was drawn. So as you can see, the feature lines interact with each other in a way that makes sense. In a surface, you cannot have crossing break lines. And so that's how feature lines react with each other. If you do make a mistake and accidentally prioritize one feature line over another one, simply move it from 0, 0 to 0, 0. So if I go ahead and select this object here, I'll just run the move command and I'll type in 0, 0, press enter, 0, 0, press enter. And now you'll notice now this one takes priority over that one, thereby adjusting the elevations of that feature line that was at 0 elevation. We don't need these, so let's go ahead and just select them and delete them. So let's go ahead and start here first, where we have this nice multi-leader for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination of feature line tools. If you want any additional information on a feature line tool that we discuss in this video, simply navigate to the Civil 3D help. The first thing you want to do is you want to actually just draw a feature line from scratch, and we're going to overlap this survey figure because we're going to use this feature line. We can't edit the survey figure because it comes from the survey database, and we want to be able to manipulate ours, so we'll go ahead and do so by creating a new one on top of it. We want to create a brand new site, and we'll call this one Tourist Parking Lot, and click OK. For the style, we'll just go with Basic Feature Line. We can give it a name, but we're not going to right now, and we'll go ahead and leave the layer as set by default. We'll click OK here, and go ahead and snap to the endpoint of the feature line. When you do so, notice how it automatically grabs the elevation. This is exactly what we want. Press enter to grab that elevation. Now we'll go ahead and snap to the endpoint of this survey figure right there. Notice how it's showing you the elevational difference. That's fine. Press enter. We'll go ahead and snap to this midpoint here because we're going to use that as a center line. That's the elevational difference. Press enter. And lastly here, just to kind of cover the eventual fillet that we're going to use with this entranceway, we'll just grab the midpoint here, press enter, and grab the endpoint there, and press enter. Press enter again to end the command. We now have a feature line ready to work with. Now what we first want to do is start with the center line. So we'll go ahead and start the feature line command again. In this case, let's go ahead and give it a name. Again, you don't have to do this, but it just makes sense sometimes. That way you can kind of see what that feature line was meant to be. We'll call this one center line of drive. You can give it a different style if you'd like to. We'll go ahead and pick core to crown, just so it goes on, let's say, the right layer. Go ahead and click OK. And now we'll go ahead and snap to the feature line right here. Make sure you snap to the feature line. If you look at your drawing coordinates in the bottom, it says 103.4578. We'll snap there, and that's our elevation. So that's perfect. Press enter. Now what we want to do is we're going to use just regular O tracking to acquire this point here. And as long as you have perpendicular turned on as a running O snap, O tracking will just use the perpendicular. And now what we want to do is draw a line 50 feet perpendicular this way. So type 50 and then enter. You'll notice it says, okay, I've got that XY. Now, how do you want me to define the Z? Do you want me to do it by slope, elevation, difference, surface, transition, etc.? Right now, we're in the default of grade, which is perfect. We want to be in that, and we'll just type in -4% and press enter. Press enter again to end the command. And now that's what this feature line is drawn at. You can kind of see it in this view here as we're just drawing it within our 3D view here as well. Now what we want to do is I want to select this feature line, and notice how the ribbon comes up with contextual commands. So we want to use the stepped offset tool, and we want to define a distance of 12 feet, and we're going to go 2% each direction to basically crown our entrance. We'll type 12, enter, and we'll go ahead and pick on M for multiple, so go ahead and click on that, and we'll pick on this side here, and the grade that we want, so make sure you type in G for grade, and then enter, and we want -2%, press enter. The grade's already set to -2, just press enter here, and we're good to go there. As you can see, those lines are being drawn nicely at the correct elevations. Now, I do want to draw the outline of my parking lot. We could use the feature line tools. However, sometimes it's nice to just use the polyline tools, draw your object, and then define elevations or grades afterwards by turning your polylines into feature lines. I'm going to start the polyline command. I'll make sure I snap to at least get that elevation there, so it'll start our polyline at that elevation. And again, using regular AutoCAD O-tracking functionality, I can just acquire that point, go perpendicular, and the distance we want here is 100 units. Press enter. We'll do the same thing here. We'll zoom in a little bit here, acquire that point there, just go perpendicular, and we want 150, press enter. Same thing here, acquire this point, don't click, go that way, 150, press enter. And now what I can do is check this out. We can actually zoom in like so I can see those two geometric points. I'm going to acquire this point there, acquire this point there, and now I can actually grab the intersection of those 2 points. Click there, and then I'm not going to close this. I'm going to snap over here. And now we have the polyline completed. Later on, I know that I'm going to have a problem triangulating. I want to make sure I get a break line at the elevations of these other feature lines here. So I'm going to draw a 3D polyline instead. So 3P for 3D polyline, and we'll go ahead and snap here first, snap here next, and snap there next. And now we actually have a 3D polyline at that cross grade of -2%. Now let's go ahead and turn these objects into feature lines, and then we can grade them. So we'll go to feature line dropdown here in the home tab. We'll create feature lines from objects. We'll go ahead and pick our feature line here, and we'll even pick our feature line there, and we'll press enter. We'll go with the basic feature line style, that's fine. And we want to erase the existing entities, and we'll leave them at the elevations that they're at. We're going to change the other ones for the polyline in a minute. Click OK, and now those objects are feature lines. Now what we want to do is assign elevations. So one way to do this is to select your feature line and go to the elevation editor. This is a great tool that allows you to actually see the specific elevations at each location. So now what I can do is I can change anything. I can change the elevation at this point. I can change the grade ahead, the grade back, and so on. One of the things to point out is if we zoom out here a little bit and we'll move our panorama window a little bit up here, you'll notice that as you select the actual row, it'll highlight in the file as to which vertice that you are at. So let's verify that we are first at the correct elevation. Notice how we see that it says 101.22. I'll press escape. Notice how it still stays in there, but let's go ahead and select this object instead and acquire this point here. Look down on our status bar and notice how it says 101.2178. So we're at the correct elevation. We're good to go. Let's say though we want to start this going down at -2%. So I can say grade ahead is -2, press enter. And now you can start to see that it's going to do that very nicely. We'll just select this one here. In this case, this would be the grade ahead. So we'll type in +2, press enter. And now it's going up that way as well. Let's say we want to define the drainage to go all the way kind of down towards this end here. There's a tool, if we go ahead and select our feature line, called Set Grade Slope Between Points. This is a great tool that allows us to actually start at a specific point. Again, as I always say, when you don't know what to do, look to the command line window. Specify the start point. We'll start there. It tells you, hey, that's the elevation. Is that what you want? You could type a new one in, but that's what we want, so we'll press enter. Then it says define the endpoint. So I could define how far I want to go with this, and I just want to go down to the point right there, and let's say our grade is supposed to be -2% sloping down that way. We'll just type -2, press enter, and we're done. It's literally that simple. Press escape to end the command, press escape to clear selection set. If you look at the panorama, you can kind of see how the grade is looking with each of the different vertices. If you want to make a quick change or edit to a grade or an elevation, you can do so actually without selecting the feature line. Navigate to the Modify panel and simply click on the Feature Line tool, and you'll notice this updates with all the specific tools that you might want to use. To access them, click on the Edit Elevations or Edit Geometry, and it'll update with those specific tools. So a really cool tool is this Quick Elevation Edit tool. I love this tool. It allows you to quickly just say, I want this to go down at -2%, press enter, and you can kind of verify and check how all your grades are looking at each of the different vertices and segments. Press escape to end the command, and now we're good to go. Now what we want to do, let's go ahead and first break this feature because we're going to join these other ones here so we get one feature and we can then fillet them around the corners. So first let's go ahead and click on the Break Feature Line tool, and we want to break this feature line here, so we'll pick the feature line. And what we want to do is break it at this exact point, because later on, you'll see, as we create a surface, we want triangulation to occur very nicely. Let's click on first point, and let's go ahead and break it right there at the same exact spot. If I hover here, you'll notice we have two feature lines. So now let's go ahead and break this one over here. We'll click on the break feature line, and we'll go ahead and select our feature line, pick first point, and break it at the same exact location. And now we have our three feature lines. So now we want to actually join these feature lines. Let's go ahead and make sure that this point here is actually connected to this one. Using grips, just grip pick this, and I'll snap to the endpoint of this line here. We'll just snap there, making sure we verify that. Go ahead and pick this grip here, pick, shift right click, endpoint, and pick there. Now let's go ahead and click on the Join Feature Lines tool, and we'll go ahead and pick here, and we'll pick this one, and we'll just keep going around. So we've got that one already, and click this one next, and click this one next, press enter, and now we have one feature line just like we need. The next thing we want to do is simply fillet around the areas that need to be filleted. So if you look here, there's a nice little tool called the fillet command. We'll go ahead and select our feature line first. As you hover over it, it shows you the fillet that's going to occur. Notice how you can do all or edit your radius right there. We'll go ahead and pick on the radius first, and let's say we want to start with a radius of 20 feet. Press enter here, and we'll go ahead and just do the 20. And again, just hovering over the different locations here. And let's say for our radius around here, we want the radius to be 15. So we'll just change the radius to 15. We'll go ahead and make sure we get that. Click, click. And then for our roadway, we want the radius to be 25. Click, click, and then press enter to end the command. Now, what we have to do is simply go ahead and actually select this feature line here and move it to the correct location. Because we trimmed that out, we now need to do it over here, so we'll just snap over there, and we'll go ahead and snap over here. The last step is to insert elevation PIs. This way we get proper triangulation. The more vertices, the better. Of course, that will also add additional triangles to the surface, making it a little bit larger. It's just something to be aware of. We'll click on Insert Elevation Points. Notice the options available. We'll go ahead and do an increment. And we'll type in a distance of 5 units, press enter, and there we go. Now, before we insert them to this point, let's go ahead and select that point there, and we'll snap to that point there, and snap to that point there, and we'll go ahead and click on Insert Elevation Point, Increment, 5 units, press enter, and now we have our feature lines created. So let's just select one, right-click, select Similar. We'll go ahead and pick this one as well, and let's take this into the Object Viewer, and there's not much of a great difference, but you can kind of see feature lines. Next step is to work with the grading object to daylight them and tie into the existing ground surface.